Hi, welcome and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is about 26 books I'm planning to read in 2026. This is one of my favorite videos to plan and film, irrespective of whether I read these books or not. Last year, I read 8 books from the 2025 books I planned. Before that, in 2022 and 2023, I read one book from those lists. So there is definitely progress. I usually forget to include the new releases I'm interested in or the random buddy reads I committed to. This time I included them. I think that's why I struggle this time. Usually I prepare this list by December. This time also I started December, but I could not finalize it. I keep changing, I keep adding books, I keep removing books. Even today, this morning, I changed a couple of books. There are around 50 books I want to read actually, but I can't read all 50 of them. I mean, these 26 are in addition to all the read alongs I'm going to participate in. Alan is hosting 7 read alongs. I will be participating in 5 of them, and in addition to them, I will also be hosting Idan Trilogy read along, which is by our own Philip Chase. Alan is the audiobook narrator for that, and he finished audiobook for book 3, which will come out soon. So I will be hosting that read along in Alan's Discord from July, August, September. And I will also be hosting read along for Hybrid Helix by JCM Byrne. Book 1 is Wishful Ascending, which I loved. I read it a couple of years back, and recently Anne also read it, and my friends K Fox, Sal also read it, and there are other people who are interested. I haven't scheduled it yet, but I will be hosting that read along as well in Anne's Discord. So 25 to 30 books are committed to read alongs already. So I do have space for another 25 to 30 books. That's where this list comes into the picture. I'm not promising I will be reading all 26 of these books. Obviously, out of everything I want to read, I picked 26 books I'm most eager to read. I am most in the mood of. So depending on the mood, I may pick up something else which I did not add today. After a couple of months, I may want to read something else. But I tried very hard to include everything, all buddy reads, all anticipated releases, everything. So the first book on this list is The Word for World is Forest by Ursula K. Le Guin. This is my first sci-fi by Le Guin. I finished Earthsea, her fantasy series, last year, and I loved that. That is definitely one of my favorite series, and I wanted to read this actually last year, but I could not get to it. I wanted to start my year with this book, but entire January I was busy with catching up with my 2025 reads. So I moved this to March actually. I'll definitely be reading it in March. Many people recommended this book to me, and I can see why. I'm definitely drawn to these kind of books. This deals with the conflict between native inhabitants of a world and conquering people. I think this is a perfect recommendation for me. And the second book in this list is actually latest edition. This is actually a sequel. I read this book 1 in January. This is The Lady's Road Guide to Utter Ruin by Alison Goodman. This is book 2 in Ill-Mannered Ladies series. Book 1 is The Benevolent Society of Ill-Mannered Ladies. So I am doing TBR swap with Charmaine, Evie and Pete. Charmaine gave me that book 1 as part of that. I finished that book and I immediately wanted to pick this up, but I need to focus on 2 other books. I was supposed to read these 2 books last year. I'm reading them now. So I'm waiting to finish those other 2 books, then I'm going to pick this up immediately. This follows 2 sisters, 2 twin sisters who are around 40 years old. This is set in early 1800s, 1820 or something around that time. So actually society treat them as spinsters. Their first adventure starts with them helping a friend in need. That paves a path for their adventures. I went into this book expecting a cozy setting. It started that way but turned dark very fast. It dealt with very real issues women faced during that time. To be frank, women are still facing those issues. I'll talk more about this book during our TBS swap discussion, but I highly recommend this book. And the third book in this list is another sequel, Paladin of Souls by Louise McMaster Bujold. This is book 2 in I forgot the series name. World of Five Gods? I think World of Five Gods. Yeah, this is book 2. Though it's book 2, actually, in terms of story wise, this happens before the events of Curse of Chalian. This follows another character from Curse of Chalian. We already meet that character. In Curse of Chalian, we only got political intrigue. We did not get much information about gods and that side of the world. I think this book is going to focus on that. I really like Bujo's writing. I wanted to get to this book last year, but I didn't. So I'm definitely going to prioritize this book. And the fourth book on my list is Happy Place by Emily Henry. I think you can sense a pattern here. Most of these, depending on what I liked last year, that is definitely going to change from book 6, I think. So last year I read Funny Story and Book Lovers. I loved both of them. I saved this for this year. I did not want to read immediately after Book Lovers. I'm super excited for this actually. Actually, I can see why I always fail to complete this list, because I'm also planning to read People We Met on Vacation. That is another Emily Henry book. I already got that from library. I'm going to start that tomorrow, but I did not include that in this list actually. That's the reason. Actually, I did not even realize that if I did that in 2022, 2023 as well. But last year when I made this video, my friend Sal made a spreadsheet and she told me that I talked about 29 books instead of 25. That's when I realized I always talk about more books. I talk about one book, but I include 2 books. I'm included only Happy Place, but I'm going to read both Happy Place and People We Met on Vacation. I will be doing that for many books like that. So it will be like 30 plus books in the name of 26 books. I am never going to finish these TBRs, but I'm alright with that. And fifth book on this list is Percus Through Water by Simon Jimenez. I added this book last year as well, but I did not get to it. But this time there is a solid plan for this. I am planning to read this with Reid Philip K. Fox, and obviously he is going to join us. We are going to have a discussion. So there is a proper plan set in place. When this came out, actually, I read the synopsis and I immediately added it to my TBR. I was immediately entranced by that synopsis. I think it is about a god or goddess and there is traveling involved. That's all I remember. It's okay. I think going into this book without any expectations is better, because this is Evie's favorite book. So she multiple times threatened me that I can give this book anything less than 4 stars. And the sixth book on my list is Elder Race by Adrian Tchaikovsky. This is his sci-fi novella. Every year I try to read at least 2 Tchaikovsky new releases. He always releases more than 2 books, around 4 to 5 books. But at least couple will be novellas or standalones. I try to read those novellas and standalones. Sequels I save for read-alongs usually. So last year I read his sci-fi standalone Shroud and his novella Hungry Gods. This year also I'm planning to pick up 2 new releases. One of them is a sequel to Elder Race. I did not read Elder Race yet. That's why I'm adding Elder Race to the list. And this time I am being smarter about this. I also added its sequel to my list. So let's start my anticipated releases for this year. 7th book in this list is sequel to Elder Race, that is Engines of Reason, which is coming out on September 1st. Actually, there is another Tchaikovsky novella, I think that is full-length novel, Green City Wars or something like that. I think that is coming out first in July or August. I may read that as well, which I did not add to this list again. Count. +1. If Sal is watching it, she will tell me the final count. I'm dreading it now. She put that thought in my head. Now I can't get that thought out of my head. So my next anticipated release, which is 8th book in this list, is Faith of Beasts by James S. Corey, which is book 2 in Captives for book 1, Mercy of Gods, which came out in 2024, which I loved. My first time reading James S. Corey, I did not read Expanse, but I can definitely see Daniel Abraham's style in his character work and the choices they have to make. This is coming out in 14th April. But before that, there was a novella Live Suit which came out last year, I think. I did not read that. So again, another book 3 now. I have to run a counter during editing actually. How many extra books I'm going to read in addition to these 26 books I'm talking. And the 9th book in this list and another anticipated release for me, that is Last Contract Officer Co by Fonda Lee, which is coming out in May, 5th May. I read Fonda Lee's Greenbone Saga when it came out and I liked it, not as much as my friends Charmaine loved it a lot. I did not like it as much as Charmaine, but I liked it and I loved how Fonda Lee wrote female characters in that series. So when I saw the synopsis and I saw that main character is a woman, I immediately wanted to read it. And also I think she is a sword fighter. samurai, if I'm not wrong, and this is set in space. I do have a NetGalley arc for this. I also have NetGalley arc for Faith of Beasts. I'll read that in April, and this one I'll read it in May. Maybe not before the book comes out, but I'll be definitely reading close to the release. And 10th book in this list is Sisters Vanguard and the Devil You Know by KJ Parker. This is book 2 in the Loyal Opposition series. Book 1 came out in January. I just finished reading that. I finished it yesterday. I did not like it as much as his Cyrus Korak series, but the theological discussion in that was fascinating. So I do want to continue. I do want to read this one. This is coming out on 12th May. And 11th book in this list is another new release, that is Agrippa by Robert Harris, which is coming out in 15th September. You all know how much I loved Harris' Cicero trilogy. His writing is fantastic, and I was so invested in the events happening during that time. And this book is going to focus on Agrippa. I know Agrippa from I Claudius and Augustus by John Williams, and I love his entire arc. I am super excited to see how Harris is going to write him. His life was definitely eventful. There is another new release I'm interested in, but I'm not adding that book in this list because that is book 3 in a trilogy. Book 3 of Kitama trilogy, Judge of Worlds, that is coming out, at least planned date is in October. Alan is hosting a Dagger and Coin read along, which will be finishing in September. So I have to start and finish entire trilogy in October, or I have to start the trilogy in parallel with Dagger and Coin. So I haven't decided whether I'm going to do that or not. If I add that new release as well, I have to add 2 more books. That's why I'm not adding. Basically, I'm cheating Sal. I might add later, but this video I'm not adding. So next 2 books on my list are classics. 12th book on my list is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. Last year I watched Frankenstein new movie with Evie and I loved it. Evie told me that book and movie are different, but the movie got the themes right, which is what I loved in the movie actually. Exploration of who is the actual monster. So I'm definitely going to read this one, maybe rewatch the movie and do a video about it, talking about it. Depends on how much I love the book. But now my expectations are through the roof. We'll have to see. The 13th book on my list is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I'm surprised I never tried Charlotte Bronte. My introduction to classics was actually when I was young. I went to my aunt's place. My aunt gave me a book which is in my first language actually, which is called Path Keratalu. Exact literal translation is Old Waves. That was actually the author. Her name is Malti Chandu. She actually wrote very detailed 30-page summaries of very popular classics. That's how I heard of all these classics. So the first book in that list is Pride and Prejudice, which I read. I think second book on that list is Jane Eyre, which I never bought, which I never read. I don't remember why. Third book is Wuthering Heights. This is my Wuthering Heights copy. Look at this, spine broke. It looks like I read this multiple times. I did read it multiple times, at least 20 times. This and Anna Karenina are most times I tried a book actually, but I never finished. First 50 pages of this book I read multiple times. I never completed it. I want to read this as well. I'm not adding, but I really very badly want to read Wuthering Heights. But for now, I am adding Jane Eyre to this list. I will be reading this with Jimmy. We did not schedule it yet. We will read maybe in later half of the year. That's the plan for now. I'm curious why. I mean, there are many other classics I bought because of that book actually. I bought Gooder, which looks actually worth 8 of this book. And Jane Eyre I never bought. I don't remember why. I'm very curious. I don't remember at all. My memory is completely blank of why I did not buy Jane Eyre. Didn't I like the summary? Clueless, but I'm going to try the book this year. So 14th on this list is Her Body and Other Parties by Carmen Maria Machado, which is right here. I always forget to get the books out, and then during editing I regret that. I read her memoir In the Dream House 5 years back, which I really liked. I immediately wanted to read this short story collection as well, but these stories looked very dark and horror coded. At that time I wasn't ready for that, but I think I'm ready to read horror coded themes now, hopefully. I don't know, we'll have to see. So next short story collection, Evie will scold me if I call this collection. Next one is anthology actually. It's latest addition to my list. This is We Will Rise Again, speculative stories and essays on protest, resistance and hope. So this is Angela's recommendation. She mentioned this in her best books list, and after that she also recommended different books based on this anthology, and I found it very relevant to the times as well. That's why I added this to my list. And the next short story collection is Brothers Grimm stories. We are reading the copy that is translated and edited by Jack Japes. I'm reading this with Evie and Arza. We'll be starting it soon. We will be reading like 10 stories or so, like every week. So it is going to take at least 2-3 months. From here on, next 10 books are going to be miscellaneous. Next is actually non-fiction. That is Wild Swans, Three Daughters of China by Yun Chang. This is actually part biography, part history. Author's grandmother, author's mother and author, their involvement in the history. I think grandmother was a warlord's concubine and mother was a part of communist. I think she believed in that communist ideology, and how their lives took a turn during the Cultural Revolution in China. I heard great things about this book and I wanted to read this from a long time. Actually, Alan, Sal and I are planning to read Indian history books as well, but we don't have a solid plan. I'm not sure if we are going to read this year or not. I hope we at least read one from that list. Since we don't have solid plan, I did not add them, but I added one historical fiction which is based on the real events happened during the partition of India and Pakistan, which is Train to Pakistan by Kushwant Singh. A train appears with dead bodies and it deals with the events that happened during the partition of India and Pakistan. It is going to be hard read. I wanted to read this book from a long time. 19th on this list is Babel by R.F. Kuang. This is my first time reading R.F. Kuang. I did not read her yet. Out of everything she has written, Poppy War, Yellow Face, Cat Passes, this is the one I am drawn to, and this is also Charmaine likes this actually. Charmaine and I have similar taste. If it works, I will be reading Cat Passes as well. I am planning a video project around these two books. I only added Babel to this list. Not sure if I'll be finishing that video project this year or not, but definitely reading Babel this year. And next, 20th on this list is James by Percival Everett. Last year, many people I know read Percival Everett books and loved them. This one, Charmaine loved it, Jimmy loved it. I thought I will start his books either with Trees or this one, but I'm going with this. I heard that this is a retelling of Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, which I did not read. But I like that this is a retelling of the same story but from another perspective. I like those kind of stories, giving voice to somebody already in the story who did not have voice in the past. Next two books I wanted to read last year. I wanted to make a reading vlog about those two books, not because they explore the same things, they explore different themes, but the rage we are going to feel is going to be the same actually. That's why I'm going to band these books together and make a video about it. First one, 21st book is Handmaid's Tales. Nobody needs introduction for that book. And the next one is My Dark Vanessa by Kate Ellsworth Russell. Both are going to be cathartic to read, but I'm going to arm myself with some palate cleansers. That means audiobooks of romance books, and definitely get to this year. That was books 21 and 22. So 23 in my list is I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. Again, very popular book. I think this book was featured in many people's best books of 2025. This is also going to be a tough read. We'll have to see. Some tough reads ahead for me. So 24th on this list is Dawn by Octavia Butler. It's been 4-5 years since I read Butler last. It's been 5 years actually. I have been adding Dawn to my list from past 2-3 years, but I am never picking it up. It's time. Butler also writes post-apocalyptic sci-fi. I think Dawn also deals with that. It also deals with consent around birth. So this is also going to be a tough subject. Joanna recently sent me sequel to Dawn, Adulthood Rights. She already finished Dawn and she made an amazing review of it. So if I read Dawn in the early 2026, later part of the year, we will be reading that book too together. Next book is change from this post-apocalyptic or female rage books. It is 11/22/63 by Stephen King. I read only one King, which is Fight Starter. Everyone was surprised that I read that book out of everything King wrote. I want to read more of his work. This is the one I'm most interested in. This is long, but at the same time, it revolves around Kennedy's assassination and time travel, which I find very interesting actually. But if I pick this up, I will be reading this with Kev. He said whenever I pick this up, he'll read with me. So I'm going to hold him on to that. The final book in this list is actually a series. It is completely different to what I usually read. One of my goals this year is to read variety of things, not restrict myself to one thing. That's what I try to focus on in this list. So I'm going to try manga. I think 4-5 years back, I did want to try. I think I got Vinland Saga from library. Before I got to it, my library due date came and I gave it back without reading it. But I am going to include manga just to include variety in my reading. I think that will help me with my focus as well. So I'm going to start with Kiki's Delivery Service. I heard it's cute, and also because it is short. It is only 4 volumes. It's completed and it is readily available in my library. That's the main reason actually. If it works for me, if I like the format, and if it is working, that switching the genre is working for my reading as well, I'm going to continue reading manga. Maybe I will try Spy X Family after this. After that, we'll see. I think I talked around 30 books. Hopefully not more than that. Sal will let me know. I tried to include the books I am definitely going to read, like Parker, Tchaikovsky, James Corey new releases. I'm definitely going to read them. So I think there is a high chance I will be reading at least 10 of these books. Let me know if you want to read any of these with me. I don't have solid plans for most of these, but if you want to read, we can make a plan. And let me know what is the book you're most excited to read in 2026. And see you in the next video. Bye-bye.